You get this momentum and this snowball, you get an identity to the mix, all kinds of great things happen. And also psychologically, you kind of learn that like that thing that you struggle so much with is not quite as important or earth-shattering as you thought it was. Welcome to After Hours. My name's Gregory Scott. A lot of times, mixers will struggle with a thing. For me, for the longest time, it was seeding a vocal in the mix. And it's possible that's still one of my greatest struggles. A close second is bass. Just getting the bass to have the fullness and the depth that I want. Reaching down really low, but not being slow and subby and tubby and weighting the whole mix down and swamping the room with this molasses energy. That's a trick. At least it is for me. So that's what I struggle with. Here's an exercise to help you overcome your struggles, or at the very least, to not have them impede your progress or the progress of the mix or your development as a mixer as much as they currently are. And that's to take whatever the problematic thing is that you struggle with and either mute it completely or have it so quiet in the mix that there's no doubt in your mind that is just way too quiet. So for me, a lot of times, if I just can't get the bass sitting in the mix, and I'll make that determination in like 5 minutes, because I'm working fast. And so I'm moving around. And by the third time I come back to that bass, I just can't get it where I want it to be. I will either mute it and just keep mixing the song for a long time without any bass in, or I'll just turn the bass to the point where okay, there's bass there. It exists. And then I move on with my life, and I don't come back to the bass. I keep building the rest of the mix up. Or if it's the vocal, the lead vocal, it's the same thing. I'll mix an instrumental. I've mixed so many of my songs as instrumentals first, and then I've brought up the vocal, and I've just shoehorned it in to that instrumental mix. By eliminating the problematic thing decisively and intentionally, you kind of unlock the psychological barrier that it normally holds, this sort of gate or this door that's like holding you back. You're like, all right, well, frick it, I'll deal with that later. And you get everything else together. So you get this momentum and this snowball. You get an identity to the mix. All kinds of great things happen. And also psychologically, you kind of learn that like that thing that you struggle so much with is not quite as important or earth-shattering as you thought it was. Even if it's like the lead vocal, turns out you can have a really powerful, amazing, strong, emotional, engaging mix with a vocal that's like a little wiry or a little bit buried or obscured or a little overly distorted. Turns out it works. So take the thing that's your biggest struggle and just make it not your struggle for a little while. Give yourself a break, get on with the mix, come back to it. When the mix is more mature, my guess is you'll have an easier time with that thing that you always struggle with. Or you won't. But you'll just make it work because you're like, you know what? I got to finish this thing because everything else is done. It's an interesting little push behind the back.